Okay?
For for us here, it's still flooded. That's why we sincerely apologize for the
No issue,
inconvenience.
no issue, no issue, because we prefer actually virtual meetings. I mean, no need to be here, especially I already have the questions here. Um, so
Okay, that's great.
I'm happy that you actually made it virtually. Um,
That's great. We didn't want to inconvenience you after all. Nevertheless, we are very excited to discuss the topic of AI with you and really dig deep into the real experience of the work field. So, if you're ready, we can start recording.
yes, please go ahead.
Okay, 1 second. Okay.
Perfect. So I just want to start by telling you, as I was clarifying for Abdurrahman, this interview is not in an official manner as a representative
Of
of
course.
NCIT. So this was done mainly for two reasons. Number one, because Dr. Ahmed Al Khatib asked me to. And number two, because I actually have very positive feelings for the students of the Canadian University. I mean, I had several interactions with you, and I think you're really good, smart kids. So
Thank
I
you.
wanted to disclose that. I have the list of questions. Some of them they have sort of a formal manner to them, but I will not be speaking in a formal manner. Okay, so these are just my uh,
Notes.
opinions. Yes, my opinions. But please go ahead with the question. I already have the list.
Of course, we modified them based on your feedback. But at first, we would like for our audience that is going to hear us for the podcast to know more about your profession and who you are, who is Dr. Laura, and such. So, if you can introduce yourself.
Perfect. Yes, I recall now actually your students for mass communication, so this will be a podcast. For some reason, I thought it would be going to some sort of thesis. Who is Dr. Laura? I'm not a doctor yet, so this is number one. Uh, I have been working at the Ministry of Telecommunications since there's an issue with the sound, by the way. There is
We will
static.
close the. Okay. If everyone can please close the mic except for Dr. Laura.
Perfect. So, I mean, I've been working at the ministry for approximately 3 years now in the institutional development department. We do have colleagues also who are working in the field of artificial intelligence. So that's why I said I cannot really speak in an official manner because this is not my lane, right? We do have some intersection in our job responsibilities, but again, I'm not uh, supposed to speak on behalf of someone else. But back to me, so I've joined the team at MCIT 3 years ago. Historically, I come from the private sector, so for most of my career, I worked in Oracle, which is a software and hardware company. Um, Actually, I mean, I come from a sort of a mixed background because in high school I was STEM. I was preparing to go to computer science. I was math and informatics profile, and then I shifted to study economics. So I studied economics at Romanian American University in Bucharest. And then I came to Egypt, and then I started a master in management of technology. And now I'm doing a second master in psychology, right? So a couple of the points that I will be, a couple of the viewpoints from this AI discussion today will have some philosophical and psychological implications. Um, yes, and about AI, because number one, as I was telling Dr. Ahmed, I'm not an AI expert because an AI expert implies that you studied computer science and you have extensive technical knowledge about AI. While I studied computer science, but it was not. I mean, AI was not there when I was in school. So I'm not an AI expert. I am an AI enthusiast or AI passionate, if you want to call it like that.
See.
So, two things. One, I had a very nice training with the Software Engineering Competency Center of ITIDA. ITIDA is one of our affiliates. I mean, many of us here in different positions, they went through similar training because we are the Ministry of ICT, so we have to know this. Also, my master thesis was on AI. So, I mean, I read a lot. I have a lot of good sources about AI. So that's why I say I'm AI passionate, of course.
Yes.
And also, I like science fiction. But I mean, yeah.
You
And
have a
generally,
very diverse knowledge about different fields, mashallah. W- we, of course, as you know, our graduation project, Project Aida, is about providing educational material for youth to essentially navigate and understand the world of AI better. So, as you say, you are an enthusiast about AI. Do you think it's an important topic to talk about, and is it relevant to real life?
of course, yes, definitely, definitely, definitely. I mean, let's I don't know where to start because I mean it's such a huge topic. So I remember Google CEO Sundar Pichai used to say a couple of years ago that AI is similar to fire. You know, when humanity discovered fire, and there are many big declarations as such. People might think, okay, it's a tech company, and tech companies make a lot of money from such technologies, you know, because you are going to have many benefits if you are a first mover in this direction. But I mean, AI has a lot of applications. Um, Most importantly, they use it a lot in the medical field. It works in everything that implies, you know, you have mountains of data, and the work is kind of repetitive. It has a lot of applications, including military applications. Um, but because I mean, I don't want to skip ahead, but I mean, there's a question here where you're talking that is it possible that we'll be eventually out of jobs and accomplish our needs remotely through technological means? So just to tackle this part of the question, if you allow me, I'm not sure if I'm too early, but because I really
Of
want to.
course,
So
it's
we
okay.
have to kind of understand where we are in terms of AI, what are the current capabilities, what are the future capabilities, but also we have to kind of look at the past because this sort of fear and mistrust and this sort of pessimism always existed, right? If you look hundreds of years ago, people didn't understand uh, why hurricanes happen, why earthquakes happen. You know, anyone that used to be able to do any sort of special thing, they used to say, "Oh my God, it's magic! You know, witches, we will burn them." So, I mean, historically, people feared new things. If you look back to the beginning of the 1900s, I mean, most of the workforce was in agriculture, right? I mean, all over the world. Um, and now less than 5% is in agriculture. So I mean, I guess it was about 80% of the workforce was concentrated in agriculture, at least in the US. Oh, that's the study that I read. And now you have less than 5%. That doesn't mean that people are out of jobs, right? People are doing different types of jobs. People are more educated because, you know, they are out of the field. They went and they got an education. And the concept of education becomes sort of integral to our lives. And this applies to many technologies. I mean, when you had the assembly line, the same, there was this panic and fear that people will be out of jobs, but then that never happened. That never happened. Always technology brings new opportunities. You do work in a different way. Um, so I do not think that AI will make people, you know, be out of jobs. And this is based on historical evidence. And number two, we need to understand that what we are talking about, this is very far ahead. So the concept of an AI replacing your job, that means an AI equals human intelligence, which is the concept of artificial general intelligence. We're not there yet. In academic literature, they refer to this as singularity point, and it's estimated that we reach this singularity point by 2049. That means that, AI equals human intelligence, and then the next step in the evolution is this artificial super intelligence, which is basically AI surpasses any sort of intelligence. And this is very science fiction. It's sort of like the Skynet of,
Of
of
course.
Terminator, yes. But I mean,
Cars flying and such, I see.
yes, but I mean, and there are many. Even yesterday, I just noticed there was another book written by an AI expert about the potential drawbacks of this super powerful AI, and they are afraid that it will destroy us. Why would why would AI destroy you? I mean, if
That is true. There is some predictions or superstitions that AI will be out of control, even though technically speaking, we are the makers of AI. We are the creators of it. So how can a creator be out of the control eventually? It says that it surpasses the human mind, and therefore it will be more powerful, and the capabilities and the skills of normal humans will decline with time, uh, with progression, because they will be dependent on artificial intelligence. So by then we would be weaker as humans, the capabilities or the extent of our knowledge and skills. uh, of course.
Okay, so this is rubbish. It's rubbish. Why? Because the same narrative happened when we had the personal computers. So everyone would say, oh, by the way, there was the first wave with the personal computers that said, oh, there's no market for personal computers. And then it was the same with the mobile phones. The same, there were some people that said, no, there's no market for mobile phones. And then people said, oh, if a computer does everything for you, you might risk becoming dumb. But this is not true. And again, I mean, we need to look at historical trends. There always has been a fear of something new. There always has been technological pessimism. And always you had people that say, okay, this technology will make people dumber, which is not true. Why would, I mean, if you look again historically, people in the let's say Stone Age until medieval times, they were very violent, right? It used to be a very violent society. We evolved. We are still violent. I mean, we're not that evolved if we look around what's happening today, but we are much better than the past. So why would you think that such an evolved artificial intelligence will actually want to kill humanity? And there's a very nice, I mean, nice. It's a two papers I can recommend. One is The Race for AGI, and the author actually raises some concerns about, this. It costs AGI costs a lot of money to develop systems that are able, because you need to have computational data. You need to have computational data power as well. So you need the data, and you need the hardware, the chips to support all this calculations that AI systems do. So not a lot of people can do this, and those that do, they basically race to be the first to the market, and they might cut corners, and a lot of things might happen. Um, so this is one thing that they discuss in this paper, and then there's this other paper, the nexus between AI and economics, and the author, I mean, it's about 90 pages. You're going to love it. But again, I mean, they discuss the possibility of having AI to a level that matches human intelligence, and they make the same parallel to biological evolution, because all organisms on the planet were initially simple organisms, and then they evolved to complex organisms. So based on the same rationale, you can have this super intelligent AI. But again, why would AI kill you? Because imagine that you have humans are not perfect, humans are flawed, willingly or unwillingly. So imagine that you have uh, this system that is makes no error, right? He is not greedy, he is not mean, he is not insecure, he is not anything. You have this system, if built ethically, and there's a lot of work into this. If built ethically, you will have this system that actually has the power to save humanity. Um,
Uh, we of course agree with your point, as these are only superstitions. But as we look at the reality of students, the target audience of our research, we find that many times they assume that it would be easier to use AI rather than develop their own skills in writing, analyzing research. There are lots of tools nowadays for AI to do these things instantly with a click of a button. That's why we wanted to discuss the skills, the tools that students and youth in general can obtain or learn in order to be more efficient in their work alongside or parallel to artificial intelligence.
okay, so back to the present time. And I want to add that I don't think that you will have one single AI that will rule the world, even if you will have ASI, because that means that you should be at the level of 100% digital transformation across the world, which might not happen. Technology costs money. If you're going to buy the hardware, you need the software, and then the life cycle for the software license is about 5 years or even less, and then you need to train the people. So it involves huge investments, right? So to have sort of one AI to rule the world, no. The way I see it, you will have couple of many AI systems, same like people. Some might be good, some might be bad, and this is the contrast of the human nature as it's been since centuries. I mean, the same scenario plays over and over again. Um, I would imagine that, in 100 years, because there are actually surveys, many surveys done by different entities that are asking AI experts when do they estimate certain things that will happen. And generally, I mean, there's no consensus. Some are very optimistic, some are very pessimistic. Some say within 100 years we will reach this level of AI kind of be threatening to jobs. Some say maybe 2060, but again, there's no consensus to this. Um, because I mean, AI has been around since the 1950s. I mean, the concept, and there has been gradual work on it, and in 2014, the industry sort of started to take an interest because they actually did a lot of good efforts in terms of machine learning, because AI it's machine learning, uh, deep learning, neural networks, and so forth. So it's you're having input and it goes through different layers, and then the deep learning actually can learn, and then it keeps learning, and it improves, and it learns from what you give it. So now we are in the era of nano AI, which is basically task based. And I mean, people sort of equate AI with ChatGPT, and ChatGPT is a very small slice. And by the way, between the first time that it appeared and today, there has been a lot of improvements. I mean, originally it didn't used to connect to external networks. Now it does. It does like a search with Bing. Still, we have the same issues with hallucinations, right? Like giving you fake output. We cannot really count on it. And I'm building to the question that you had asked me. You cannot count 100% on such AI tools, right? It it complements your study. In my, let's say, in psychology, sometimes I have issues with the language, and because it's very technical and it's a master, so I mean, I should have probably started to the bachelor level. But it helps me because I tell it, please explain simply and give me examples. So it helps me in this way. But can I rely on it 100%? No, because I tried this. I fed it one research paper and I told it to give me the main ideas. And it got two things right and one thing wrong. So you cannot rely as a student on such tools. And there are many tools, I mean, for different purposes, but I mean, the technology is not there yet. And trust me, if there's someone, if there's a person that he's going to be unethical, he's going to be unethical with or without AI. If he's looking to cut corners, and you cannot really, I mean, you cannot really put a policy in place. You can, I mean, the university should be doing this, right? And I think they're already working on something, because kind of the chat GPT hit us all in the face, so universities are trying to work around this. But as an idea, um, you're not going to ban AI tools because some student might use it in the wrong way. This is, they are lazy, cutting corners, but it has the potential to actually help some students. They want to help, but they don't understand. The style of the professor doesn't match uh, their learning style, right? So it has a lot of benefits to help students. I mean, like I said, it's always going to be someone that's going to use anything for a bad purpose, you know.
That is true. So we touched on the development or the evolution of AI in general, because you said there is no consensus and you cannot predict the future of when the AI will kick off and be dominant, or more apparent in our lives. But we would like to also know your opinion about the level of development that we've reached in Egypt. Is it constricted to borders and geographical areas, or have we surpassed these limitations, as in we can use AI broader than our geographical area, because we have smartphones, we have personal computers and such. So, what level of development are we in at this point in Egypt?
Okay, so let me just recap the first part. So now we are in the era of narrow AI. Narrow AI meaning that it's task based. And again, there are many limitations. There are many applications of AI in healthcare, uh, even in the military. I mean, most notably, Israel is using the gospel, which is not very accurate, very efficient, but they're using it. Um, there are a lot of AI applications, I mean, in business. Um, but still, we are in the era of narrow AI. Being put out of a job, this is more sort of a AGI, which is the next step. The next step when actually AI will be able to do everything that humans do. So this would be the next step in the evolution, which is called the singularity point, which some people say it will be 2049, others say it will be 2060. I mean, surveys are not, there's no real consensus. And the next step after AGI, so you have the narrow AI, the general AI, which should be equal to human intelligence, and the next step is the science fiction, which is artificial superintelligence, that people are speaking a lot of, which is when AI, they assume that AI will kill us. What purpose would have the AI to kill us? I mean, definitely it will not happen. And I hope they find this recording 100 years from now, and you see, she was against everyone else that said AI will kill us. Um, so um, AI can do a lot of good things, by the way. I've just read that AI discovered new materials. University of Ohio in December, their researchers developed a model to find surface signs of subsurface hydrogen. So it has a lot of applications, right? Again, I mean, we have to do the ethics part really well to ensure that we develop systems that um, are useful and are not exploitative. And most notably, there was a policy passed in the European Union. It's called the EU AI policy, which regulates the use of AI. So they have some categorizations. I'm not sure if you're aware of, but they categorize it based on risk. So there's something called high risk and there's something called unacceptable risk. Of course, this is for the industry. This doesn't apply to the military. But I mean, please have a look and read about it. This is something that we need globally. But you have to keep in mind that Europe always has been precautionary They actually have something called the precautionary principle. They always had this precautionary approach, and they are human centric. The U.S. is more, business savvy. China uses AI as a sort of strategic tool. There's a very nice book on this topic if you want. It's called AI Superpowers. Um, there's a nice channel on YouTube. It's called Holistic AI. They have all sorts of videos about this. And this is where I actually got this synthesis from. And then I went further and I did my research. So different continents use AI differently. In Africa, Egypt is the only country that has a national AI strategy. So this was established in 2019. There are many countries with AI strategies under works. But again, as I said, I do not work in this specific lane, but I will give you some insights. So the AI strategy has 4 pillars: AI for government, AI for development, capacity building, which includes students like yourselves, and initiatives, so partnerships. These are the pillars. The first phase of the strategy should finish in May this year, and then we're entering the next phase. So we are pretty advanced. I mean, Egypt is doing a lot of efforts in terms of AI, and I believe we have about 30 AI startups so far in Egypt, if not more. But again, I mean, you need to take it further and speak with someone that actually that this is their work, you know. So we have the strategy. We have a national AI council that's in charge of implementing this strategy. We have a charter for responsible AI, so similar to the principles that we find in Europe and in other parts. We have that in place as well. So there are a lot of good efforts. But again, I mean, I am not the person to speak about that because this is not really what I do here in the ministry. But I think we are doing really well in terms of AI. Definitely, I mean, what has been circulating a lot is the issue of bias. You don't want to teach or sort of propagate certain biases. Um, you don't want to propagate stereotypes, right? So you don't want to say, okay, females are more likely to be nurses. There are a lot of issues here, right? So it's very important from the beginning how you train these models and what sort of data you feed it. For instance, I follow this physicist on YouTube. Her name is, I'll find you her name, just 1 second. Either way, what she was saying is that actually the Department of Defense in the U.S. they are using AI for war games, right? So one of the main concerns was that AI, based on the data that it was fed, knows how to start wars. They don't know how to end wars because most people wrote about the beginning of the war, right? So I mean, based on what's available there, these systems learn. So you don't really want to propagate this sort of issues. You want to make sure, you want to see what's the algorithm, how does it come to this sort of output. So I mean, you feed it one, and this is the issue with hallucinations, by the way. So you feed it one input, and it sends you out another input. How did it reach this conclusion? How did it build to this reply? I mean, this is the concept of explainability. There are a lot of issues. What happens with the data that I'm putting there? How am I making sure that AI doesn't really propagate false information, which happened before, or there's something called prompt engineering, and someone actually sits there and writes the messages, and this can be manipulative. I mean, UNESCO came recently with a declaration saying that they don't recommend usage of AI tools such as ChatGPT for children below 13 years of age. And others started to come and say, no, let's make it 16. Why? Because it can be manipulated. uh, because the big companies don't really tell you how they train their data. Um, on the other side, it's about how the company uses this information or how they train their AI models, right? They can get involved into social scoring. So based on your behavior and whatever it is that your activities online, they will do this. They can engage in tracking, right? And this happens a lot. They can be selling your data. And there's actually a scandal about this in Europe because some a big digital platform, I will not mention the name, they actually proposed a feature where you can use it ad free, because otherwise you'll have ads and your data will be sold and everything. We know that nothing is for free per se. So if it's free, you are the product. So yes, they can sell your data. They can use it for many reasons. So please do read the EU AI Act. It came in December and they just voted on it like a couple of days ago. And it's very interesting. It's very interesting.
Actually, someone mentioned to me before that artificial intelligence is entirely unethical in the way that it already takes information that exists from somewhere else. So, based on what you said, can we say that it actually can be somewhat unethical in many ways? Not all of them.
No, no, this is one argument that has been very popular in for ChatGPT. Again, AI doesn't equal ChatGPT.
Of
AI is a
course.
small slice of ChatGPT is a small slice of AI. It's a large language model.
That's right.
It's a large language model, and again, it doesn't equal ChatGPT. And yes, they have issues with intellectual property, but now they don't do this anymore. So yes, they were afraid, for they're taking texts and attributing it as its own, but it never actually attributed it as its own, right? They
I
kind
see.
of they send the reference and um, there was an issue, I guess, with picture image generation as well. But
That's true for artists, especially.
yes,
Be-
yes, true. But again, I mean, this is an issue affecting a specific industry, so they kind of have to get together and see how to work around this. But artificial intelligence in its own, it's not unethical. Imagine that you can, and there was this, I found this in the news yesterday that it costed 10 cents. Harvard Med did a study and it costed 10 cents. I will tell you, to screen a patient for, I will tell you what was the disease. Okay, AI beats humans in new Harvard Med study proves LLM, large language models, could change human trials. It would cost a drug developer about 10 cents to screen a patient using AI. So again, I mean, we don't want to get caught up in ChatGPT. Forget about ChatGPT. Think about the bigger things. We don't want to be masters of insignificant details, or not insignificant, but major and minor things. So let's focus on the higher applications like medicine, right? You can increase the number of patients you're serving. You can make it cheaper, right? Uh, you can make it remote. Imagine that, because what happens typically, you have a very good doctor in Cairo and someone from 600 kilometers away, they have to come to Cairo to get good treatments because such treatment will not be available. And what happened now actually with this initiative, I'm not sure if you're aware of, but all Egypt is aware of, Decent Life. So we are building the ICT infrastructure over there. We're done basically. I mean, we went ahead and we had about 4,400 villages where we had different sessions on digital literacy. So we prepared them for what's to come. So imagine that you have a digital clinic. Obviously, this will not work for everything. We don't want to do sort of generalized statements, but it will work for some instances. Imagine that you can have a consultation with a doctor, right? And you can have some sort of a device right? If you want to scan your hand and see if something is broken, and they can do all this remotely and cheap. The most important thing is the issue also of money. So you have already robots that are doing surgery. We are there. They can do surgery on their own. Is it something that, I mean, there is one or two in Egypt, I guess, if not more, but that costs, last time I checked, it was like $250,000. And that was not the fancier model. So there is technology out there, but is it a solution? If it costs so much, then most of the population cannot afford it. I was speaking with a friend, she has back issues, and she went to a famous doctor in Cairo. I'm not going to mention his name, but he quoted for her surgery 2.5 million Egyptian pounds. 2.5 million Egyptian pounds.
That is
You think
really,
for the vertebra. So imagine if
yes.
you have an AI powered system do this, that is able to do this repeatedly, right? So again, we are not there yet. This is long
A way
time
ahead
ahead.
of us.
Yes,
Yes, we could say that we have technological setbacks in Egypt or in Africa in general. So we are still not there.
it's
We
not a
want.
setback. It's not a setback, by the way, because a lot of countries, I mean, Germany is very late on digital transformation. Europe overall, it's late on digital transformation.
Because they're
Germany,
conservative.
Italy, yes, yes. They are conservative. They always had this precautionary conservative approach, and kind of the US and China are, the biggest investors in technology. So don't say Egypt has a setback. Europe, we're doing better than Italy, by the way, in terms of digital transformation. I mean, in Egypt, you have almost everything online now. So you have government digital services. If you go to digital.gov.eg, you're going to find about 160 services online.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Um, Everything now is any supermarket, most respectable, reputable big chains, fashion chains, pharmacies, they are online. You don't have this in Italy because, I mean, my mom lives in Italy for some time now, and with the COVID, my mom is actually in Bologna. So, I mean, Modena is right beside Lombardia, the district where COVID started, right? So she was in the heart of everything when this COVID started, and very few options to order things online. Of course, COVID kind of pushed everyone to do digital transformation, but still, I mean, there are not as many options in Bologna as we have here in Cairo in terms of digital.
See, I hope she is doing well after COVID. Um,
Oddly enough, apart from the interview, she didn't get the vaccine and she didn't get COVID. And I got the vaccine, I got Johnson, and I got COVID, and I lost my smell. So, yeah. منحوس يعني أنا ومارينا منحوس.
She's very lucky.
And I got
We
COVID last year after everyone finished. So I
oh,
mean, it was very strange.
immune shots, ginger and orange. They say it's good
Okay.
for the immune. So, from a psychological perspective, since Europe is a little bit conservative, how can we describe the environment in Egypt? Is it leaning towards more open, or is it conservative as well, or is it in between?
So, I mean, in Egypt, most of the people that I met, I mean, in companies or in universities, not most, but many people they have this operational mindset. They don't have time to innovate, they don't have time for AI. We are struggling with the day to day. They are very operational. Um,
Not futuristic.
yes, but also I meet people that are actually very keen to work in the field and that are doing a lot of good efforts. So I think that I think I think people are optimistic about AI. They are. I mean, the people that are aware of AI, of course, you have a big pool of pragmatists. I want to just, when I hear people say that, okay, I don't like AI, and I ask them why I don't like AI, because I try ChatGPT. And so I tell them, ChatGPT is not AI. It is a small part of AI. So please don't equate ChatGPT with AI, and then they start to say AI will take our jobs. Well, don't worry about it, honey, because this maybe happen in 100 years, and again, it will open new jobs. And so these are conversations that I always end up having with people. Um, Going back to the agriculture, to the transformation of the agriculture sector in the 1900s. The same, I mean, it opens up jobs, and I do see a very good future with AI. And I think that there's an issue here with the perception and awareness. So I think that once you increase people's awareness, okay, what AI can do, you have fuzzy logic, you have Bayesian networks, many applications, many methods, many techniques that can serve your specific industry very well. So once you increase people's awareness, their perception changes as well. So I think this is what we have to work on um, in the universities as well. So the Egyptian universities, they need to have the leadership of the university, they need to have a certain level of AI literacy, right? You are mass media, mass communication, so you focus probably on media and information literacy, but you need to add a level of AI literacy. Everyone should have AI literacy because it's here and it will not go anywhere.
So we had a question about the literacy, as I was going to ask you.
Yes. So you did talk about that AI does not equate ChatGPT, and unfortunately, here in Egypt, or we're going to talk mainly our target audience, students and youth always see that AI is ChatGPT, and they use everything to do their tasks. But trying to keep up with the changes of AI and especially in the educational fields and workplace, what kind of advice you would give them, and how to improve their skills on the long run?
So number one, each university should have some programs around awareness. Okay? ChatGPT is a small slice of AI. It's a large language model. It's generative AI like Midjourney and other. Each one again, and it comes back to the point of narrow AI. It's task based. ChatGPT, it's good at language. Midjourney or DALL-E, it's good at pictures. So each generative model, they are good at something. You might use ChatGPT and discover that. And you guys, I know why you're asking this question, because you are mass communication, so most, I guess, you are literature background or social science, something like this. So you do a lot of writing. And
Yes.
Typically in the research that I've done, I discovered two views in academia. So the social sciences teachers are really annoyed, right? Because developing reading a lot, you need to read a lot to develop your vocabulary, right? So students go around this by having these AI tools summarizing things, and this is not helpful. They use tools like ChatGPT a lot for translation. They use it for paraphrasing or summarizing. So social sciences professors always see ChatGPT as detrimental. Whereas, for instance, computer science professors see it useful because writing certain codes might be considered donkey work. So there's, again, I mean, it depends. ChatGPT does language the best, so it makes sense that students of mass communication will be using it for language. But ask it something else related to physics. I was trying to help my daughter study physics. It's really dumb, trust me. So you have to, again, and it comes to the point of awareness. Once you are aware of, GPT is one of the architectures, by the way. Remember I mentioned neural networks, the way that these networks are built. You have different layers and they do different things, and then they sort of learn from the output. So this is a way of organizing this learning process, but there are different types of there. It's not only ChatGPT. There are many, not many, but there are other options there, and each one is good at something. Okay? So again, you need to have awareness. What I will advise students to do, back to the point of AI literacy, understand what is AI, and understand how to benefit from it the most. A lot of places you can get AI courses from. The ministry, if you go on the mcat.gov.eg, you will find a tab called Human Development. In the Human Development part, you will find a drop-down menu with all the courses that we offer from our affiliates. Please do study the website and the affiliates. There's Mahara Tech. They offer AI-related courses as well. I took AI course with Aida, with the Software Engineering Competency Center, but that's more technical. But I guess they might have something non-technical as well. So there are many options for you to get these free courses. Many Ivy League universities also, I saved this, they offer free courses, by the way, Introduction to Artificial Intelligence. So take advantage of all this and keep up with the technology. I will tell you. So this is 6 free Harvard courses to change your life in 2024. I'm not sure if you can see it, but
No, I cannot say it, but if you can screenshot it. Oh, wait. I think I can see something. Wait. Okay, thank you.
okay.
I got it.
So Introduction to Artificial Intelligence is 140 hours and it's free of charge. Okay. It says here 6 free Harvard courses. I didn't go to check, but I guess it's free as it says in the post. So again, I mean, take advantage of this. And the way I see the future going, we will need interdisciplinarity because fields are combining. And just to mention something from the field of psychology, in 2018, a new subfield of psychology appeared, which is called cyberpsychology. It's basically, we didn't used to have cyber psychology in the past, we didn't think of it, but since, humans and technology have been interacting a lot, especially in the context of digital platforms, so we have this new field erupting called cyber psychology, and they focus on things like digital identity, and behavior online, and so forth, so on. So, I mean, you see, again, technology kind of created new jobs and new fields. So, always watch the news. This is what I always tell my daughter as well. Whether you are in mass communication, whether you're in business, whether you're in government, you need to be aware of your environment. So what I would typically do, I have a couple of news apps, and I have like, you can schedule a summary on your phone, so you get updates throughout the day, like certain times, and then you read the headlines. And if you're interested, of course, go and go down to the article and read it. You have to keep up to date. You have to understand what's happening. Maybe even on LinkedIn, subscribe to some LinkedIn, by the way, it's a very good tool, and not to network necessarily, but to get information. So you can follow some AI experts and get updates from them. Read a lot. Okay, so read a lot, and trust me, most of the things that will help you to build this AI literacy is free. I'm saying most of the things because I don't like to make everything and nothing sort of statements. Okay.
Okay, we have reached the end of our interview. Thank you so much for insightful opinions. We know that you are Ukrainian, is that right?
No, I'm Romanian. I'm actually Egyptian. I am Egyptian Romanian, yes.
Because I prepared a word, I kept repeating it, and I was going to say it to you, but since you're not Ukrainian, well, still the translation to it is that you are incredible. So thank you very much for your time.
شكرا جزيلا. I told you.
Okay. شكرا لك.
كل سنة وانتم طيبين.
وانت طيب. رمضان كريم.
رمضان كريم.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you
Bye
very
bye.
much. Bye. بتنفس.
يعني في الاخر كل ده تطلع مصريه.
اصلا يعني توي توي